Welcome to Advanced Learning Tutoring. This is the chemistry playlist. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Organic chemistry, crude oil, alkanes and fractional distillation. Organic chemistry is the study of chemistry of molecules with a mainly carbon backbone. Crude oil is a finite resource found in rocks. Finite meaning it will run out. Crude oil is the remains of ancient biomass consisting mainly of plankton that was buried in mud, known as a fossil fuel. Crude oil is a mixture of hydrocarbons, which are molecules made up of hydrogen and carbon atoms only. Most of the hydrocarbons in crude oil are hydrocarbons called alkanes. The general formula for the homologous series of alkanes is CnH2n+2. Think of homologous series as almost like different families. Each family has a specific property that makes them part of that series. For alkanes, all bonds between carbon atoms are represented by single bonds, also being referred to as saturated, meaning all carbon atoms are filled up with the maximum number of hydrogen atoms possible. The first four members of the alkanes are methane, ethane, propane and butane. The number of carbon atoms in your homologous series will determine the start of the name of your molecule. 1 carbon, the start of the name will be meth. 2 carbons, eth. 3 carbons, prop. And 4 carbons, bute. The ending of the name of your molecule will come from the homologous series your molecule belongs to. All alkanes end in ane, A-N-E. The many hydrocarbons in crude oil may be separated. They can be separated as crude oil is a mixture. It can be separated by the process of fractional distillation. Fractional distillation is the process of evaporating and condensing your fractions. The fractions from fractional distillation have many uses, such as petrol, diesel, kerosene, and other fuels. Crude oil enters the fractional distillation column and is heated up. The fractions are separated by boiling points. Think back to structure and bonding. Molecules will have different boiling points based on the strength of the forces between those molecules. The larger the molecule, the stronger the forces, and therefore the higher the boiling point. The fractioning column is hotter at the bottom and cooler at the top. Fractions vaporize and then condense to be collected. Properties of hydrocarbons. Some properties of hydrocarbons depend on the size of their molecules, including boiling point, viscosity or how easily it flows, flammability, how easily it burns, volatility, the tendency to turn into a gas. These properties influence how hydrocarbons are used as fuels. As the carbon chain length increases, boiling point increases, viscosity decreases, meaning it becomes more thick, and the flammability decreases. Those carbon chains with more carbon atoms tend to burn with a smokier flame. The combustion or burning in oxygen of a fuel releases energy. During combustion, the carbon and hydrogen in the fuels are oxidized. We recall that oxidation is the addition of oxygen. The complete combustion of a hydrocarbon produces carbon dioxide and water as the products. Carbon dioxide contributes to global warming as it is a greenhouse gas. During incomplete combustion, when there is little oxygen available, to burn the fuel completely, meaning there will be some leftover fuel, produces carbon monoxide or carbon particulates as products, as the carbon has not fully oxidized due to little oxygen being available. Carbon monoxide is a poisonous, toxic, odourless and colourless gas, and carbon particulates, or soot, contribute to global dimming. Alkenes and cracking. Hydrocarbons are cracked. Now, hydrocarbons formed from separating crude oil will give fractions of different carbon chain lengths. Those with the longer chains will be formed at the bottom of the fractional distillation column. If a hydrocarbon has a long chain, it won't be useful as a fuel as the boiling point will be too high. Therefore, we want to break this molecule into smaller pieces in the process known as cracking. Hydrocarbons can be broken down to produce smaller, more useful molecules. They are more useful as they will have a lower boiling point. Shorter chain alkanes can be used as fuels, and alkenes to be used to produce polymers. The products of cracking an alkane will give you a mixture of alkane and alkene units. Alkenes are molecules that contain a carbon-carbon double bond. They have double the number of hydrogen atoms as they do carbon atoms. The methods of cracking can be done by two different ways, either catalytic cracking, using a catalyst, and steam cracking, mixing with steam at a high temperature. To distinguish between alkanes and alkenes, we need to use bromine water. Alkanes tend to be less reactive than alkenes, therefore alkanes will not react with bromine water. Bromine water is an orangey-yellow solution, so will remain orange with alkanes due to them not reacting, but will turn colourless with alkenes. Alkenes and alcohols. As well as alkanes as one example of a homologous series, the alkenes and alcohols are two other examples of homologous series. Alkenes are hydrocarbons with a double carbon-carbon bond. The general formula for the homologous series of alkenes is CnH2n. Alkene molecules are unsaturated because they contain two fewer hydrogen atoms than the alkane with the same number of carbon atoms. An example being ethene, eth meaning two carbons. It therefore has 4 hydrogens, as it has double the number of hydrogens as carbon atoms. The displayed formula of alkenes, we see that the alkene has 1 carbon-carbon double bond, with the other carbons being joined by single bonds. Alcohols, another homologous series, contain the functional group OH, an oxygen and hydrogen. Methanol, ethanol, propanol and butanol are the first 4 members of the homologous series of alcohols. Anol, ANOL, is the ending of the alcohol homologous series. The reactions of alkenes and alcohols. Alkenes react with oxygen in combustion reactions in the same way as other hydrocarbons, but they tend to burn in air with smoky flames because of incomplete combustion. Alkenes react with hydrogen, water, and the halogens by the addition of atoms across the carbon-carbon double bond. This means the carbon-carbon double bond breaks, meaning each carbon atom has 1 more bond to make. It will make this bond with the reactants that you are adding to your alkene. Alcohols react with sodium, they burn in air, and can be reacted with water or an oxidizing agent. When burnt in air, a combustion reaction occurs and carbon dioxide and water are formed. Reacting an alcohol with an oxidizing agent will produce a carboxylic acid, another homologous series. The main uses of alcohols are in drinks or hand sanitizers. Aqueous solutions of ethanol are produced when sugar solutions are fermented using yeast. A reminder that the fermentation using yeast of a sugar, for example glucose, will produce ethanol and carbon dioxide. Carboxylic acids and esters. Both are other examples of different homologous series. Carboxylic acids have the functional group COOH, where a carbon atom has a double bond to an oxygen atom and the carbon has an OH bond to it. The first four members of the carboxylic acids are methanoic acid, ethanoic acid, propanoic acid, and butanoic acid. Carboxylic acids are weak acids. They only partially ionize in aqueous solution. Ethanoic acid is the scientific name for vinegar. Carboxylic acids react with alcohols to produce esters in a condensation reaction. Esters have a functional group of an ester bond. The ester bond or ester link in the center of the molecule is a COO. This is a carbon atom with a double bond to an oxygen and then a single bond to another oxygen. This links part of the alcohol and carboxylic acid strands together, losing one molecule of water. Synthetic and naturally occurring polymers. Polymers are long-chain molecules and can be formed in different chemical reactions, producing a synthetic polymer, or such as DNA, which is a naturally occurring polymer. Addition polymerization will take place due to alkene monomers reacting together to make polymers such as polyethene and polypropene. This is done by addition polymerization, where many small molecules, monomers, join together to form very large molecules, polymers. Polymers are used in the production of plastics. Condensation polymerization involves monomers with two functional groups, diols or dicarboxylic acids. The monomer of a diol will have an alcohol group on either side of the molecule. A dicarboxylic acid has a carboxylic acid functional group on either side of the molecule. Each side of the molecules react in a condensation reaction, producing a long chain molecule with a repeating unit, losing a small molecule such as water. The simplest polymers are produced from two different monomers with the same functional groups on each monomer. When a diol and a dicarboxylic acid react, it forms a polyester. Amino acids have two different functional groups within the same molecule. Amino acids react by condensation polymerization to produce polypeptides. Different amino acids can be combined in the same chain to make proteins. DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid is a large molecule essential for life. DNA encodes genetic instructions for the development and functioning of living organisms and viruses. Most DNA molecules are two polymer chains made from four different monomers called nucleotides in the form of a double helix.